We're on the outskirts of Armadale and we're going to go to the Gara Gorge in the Oxley Wild Rivers National Park. 15 kilometres. The last part of it will be on a gravel track, and then once we get to the end of the driving there's another 2 or 3 kilometres of bushwalking to get to the gorge itself. I've noticed an interesting looking tree while I'm here. Let's go closer. I don't think that old plough is ever going to plough anything again. But look at the tree beyond it. Dead up the top and growth down below that. Isn't it amazing? The river's running fairly high and it's over the decking of this causeway, so I had to wade across and get wet boots. At least it's not running fast, unlike the bridge behind me, which you may be able to hear. Do not cross bridge when river level is above bridge decking. Can you see the water there? Let's go and have a look if it's over the bridge. Safe to cross, only just. It's probably best not to come along here in thongs. It's a fairly rough track, and every now and again you have to ford or wade through. So good sturdy boots with gussets that don't let the water in are a good idea. This channel is called a flume line, F-L-U-M-E. It was constructed for a power station that was completed in 1896, and it took power about 16 kilometres, I think, to a mining town. It's been long abandoned. It began with Hillgrove, that's the mining town, the scheme. And this is showing the mining town that this was built for the power. Hydroelectricity comes to Australia. And this shows the first construction of the dam here. The first 400 metres of the flume. Plans for a hydroelectric scheme for Hillgrove. Troubles with the scheme because of dry spells, droughts. The reconstruction. In 1899 the whole works were reconstructed. The interior of the Gara power station installed in 1894. Now we're actually going to walk along this dry flume. This is the flume that was built in the 1890s to carry water. Long abandoned, and is now part of the walking track to Gara Gorge. There's the river there, and water was diverted by pumps, or was it by gravity? I'm not sure. Certainly the river is lower than the flume here, but water was diverted from that river into these flumes, along which it flowed at great rate and turned the wheel for the dynamo, for the power, I think. Okay, the flume here is filled with water, and we can start to see now how they filled this flume with water even though it was above the level of the river. It looks like they did it at these waterfalls here. Okay, there's a tunnel underneath that grass there, a tunnel or a pipe, which, if we turn the camera around, comes out just on the lip of that waterfall. Can't see the tunnel, but it's where this grass here is, and that's how they fill the flume. The dam remains. Does it remain? I thought it had gone. Don't worry about me, I'm just being an idiot. Okay, in front of you is the eastern abutment of the dam. Now destroyed by successive floods, the dam itself was of crib construction. A crib construction. Built with a timber framework, faced with rock and with an impervious gravel and clay core. The core material can be seen at the right hand of this abutment, and the facing rocks are now downstream from here. The concrete weir 100 metres downstream was built to divert water into an aqueduct or flume, which took it to the gorge rim 2.5 kilometres from here. So I've got another 2.5 kilometres to walk to get to the gorge rim. The dam carried the road to Hillgrove across the river. So I guess in that photo that's the road to Hillgrove. Now what we're looking at here, can you see the wall? I'll just go up a little bit closer. So in what is now almost wilderness, wild bushland, here is an obviously man-made wall, which was part of that dam. Now, unless it was pointed out to you, you would never know that this was part of a dam 100 odd years ago. Okay, so there's another 2.5 kilometres of track that is in places quite rough. So it won't be the fastest 2.5 kilometres I've ever walked, particularly carrying a tripod and a camera, so we'd better push on. Oh, before we go, I'll just show you a nice peaceful view of the river there. These cattle have broken through that fence line there. When they saw me, they started running. See them going up the hill there now? They were actually trying to get across this bridge here, and they couldn't do it, or they wouldn't do it. But as you can see, they're causing a bit of damage here. See the track they've made? Anyway, we'll continue along this track to the gorge rim, or the gorge lip. This is an amazing tree. Goes up the face of this rock, and up near the top it's actually taken root. The path has been plunging downwards for a while now, and it continues down. We're getting fairly close to the gorge, or the lip of the gorge. I'll show you, we can actually see parts of the gorge itself there. These rock formations were left by the last ice age, and they're just sort of looking as though they're tumbling against each other, which in fact they were as the ice receded. So the rocks were left as they were. We've come down from up there. The path has been very steep down, and it continues to go down through these trees, through there, still downwards. Have a look at these rocks, just overhanging, and beyond the rim of that rock you can see the white water of the river. See where the sun is casting fingers of light down into the canyon or the gorge. The track goes between these two rocks. They've been here for millions of years, so I doubt if they're going to tumble downwards just as I walk through. We're on a viewing platform overlooking the river. Way down below, there's an interesting rock there. Balancing. Okay, now I can return the way I came. Which is 2.6 kilometers, or I can go via the loop, the Flume Line loop, which is nearly 3 kilometers, 2.9. So we'll do the 2.9. I've left the dogs in the van in the car park. It's still early, the sun's not really high yet, so they should be okay, but I don't want to leave them there for too long. When I look at some guys who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, who would obviously not have the fitness level to do this, I'm so pleased that at 66 I'm still able to enjoy doing this stuff, and hopefully when I'm 76 I'll be able to do this stuff. The penstock. Here the water poured from the wooden flume into the penstock or pipe, which carried it under pressure to the power station 140 meters below. That's got to be less than 200 yards, probably 180, 190 yards below. The pipe and machinery were removed after the scheme closed. The pipe was 40 centimeters in diameter, which is about 14-15 inches, and the power output from the dynamo was reported to be up to 1,000 horsepower, so probably about 700 or 800 horsepower. A flow of 2,000 cubic meters per hour at the rate of 48 meters a second has been calculated from these figures. Please do not attempt to descend here. It is difficult and dangerous, becoming almost vertical below. This walk continues to a safe, natural lookout above the site of the old power station, 400 meters from here. Beautiful colours in the rocks. They look sandstone, don't they? I thought they were granite rocks, but they do look sandstone. And way below, according to that sign that we just read, 140 meters below, is the river. When you look at the sand that's in that water, I think it has to be sandstone, doesn't it? Lots of minerals in that. That's all part of the old hydroelectric works. These red ants are about an inch long and they deliver a very nasty bite. The drawing shows a section of the timber fluming described by the Hillgrove Guardian as of a very substantial nature. The fluming is all made up of a 1-inch Oregon pine, all grooved, the tonguing being fitted in as tightly as if the whole were one piece, 4 feet wide by 2 feet high. And don't forget, this was water carrying, it was an aqueduct that carried water, hopefully without leaking too much. The fluming followed 2 routes as a result of rebuilding of the original 1894 scheme. The original flume was laid on a contoured bank. The second flume, built in 1900 and shown in this drawing, was more direct and elevated. This walking track largely follows the winding 1894 flume, but look for the route of the 1900 flume marked by rock footings and cuttings on the gorge side of the track. And yes, I have seen those as I've been walking. There's the van, still pretty much in shade, I think, so the dog should be okay. Let's go and say hello to them. Depending on how many times you stop and how long you stop to take photographs or whatever, the round trip will take between 1 and 2 hours.